one light is on, person coming in the front door, I presume.
Okay. Hi, Trish.
There we go. Hello.
Hi, Trish. It's just me and you.
Okay. Good. Let's make some big decisions.
Looks like the boss is coming. How are you?
Hey there, good. How are you?
Good. Did you see the minutes I sent today?
I did.
Okay. I made a mistake in, I know two Courtneys and the other one popped up. So I have to change that. I put Courtney Allen and it's Courtney Lewis.
Oh, yeah. I was just looking at that. Yeah. Oh, and I want to get on my screen so I can share.
So Trish Aldrich is with us as a guest.
Yeah, hi Trish.
Hello.
And Ellen is here.
I just want to make sure I can. I couldn't sign in through the town's website, which means we can't share our screen to look at anything.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi, everybody. So we'd all have to look at it on our own computers.
Yeah, so I was just trying to see, I couldn't sign in through the town. I don't know why, because it's a way I always sign in and it wouldn't let me sign in to zoom.com sign in.
I had to copy the link. I had to copy the link, the long HTTP one, because it wouldn't let me come in the other way with the passcode.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I got in that way.
Yeah, that's the way I ended up having to get in because I couldn't get in on the town, through the town.
hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Hey, Rebecca.
Hi.
Trish Aldrich is also with us.
Yes.
great.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, this stinks if I can't share a screen because I really wanted to go over the vision documents that you guys worked on while I was away.
So is Courtney coming?
No, I never got in touch with them.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was coming.
No, and I never heard from them.
All right, because there's a whole bunch of stuff he didn't send that he said he was going to send, number one. And number two, we're supposed to be having like a public meeting the first 2 weeks of December. I mean, that was what we had like said.
I bet that's gonna get put off till January, but
It looks like it.
So why don't we start off with the minutes? Did everybody have a chance to take a look at them from October 19th?
I did.
I made a
Briefly.
mistake in the name. I have another contact named Courtney, so that wrong name got in. So I will change it to Courtney Lewis. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to go back and pull them up while we're talking about them.
All right, I have no other changes except for that.
Yep, same here.
Same here.
All right, is there a motion to approve with the changes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Great. Okay.
I will then send those on since they've been approved today. I'll send them to town to be put on the website.
All right, does everybody have the draft that, so while I was gone, you guys were gonna meet and do the draft, and I saw, Ellen, you had sent that to me. Thank you. Has anyone reached out to Courtney at all?
I actually sent him a copy of that. I also had about a half-hour conversation with him on the phone around the same time frame. And we kind of reviewed some stuff because I was a little confused about some things. So but he was supposed to get back to me with some stuff. He was gonna get back to me with a bullet list of things that we had to focus on, and he never did that. And he didn't give me any feedback on what I sent him. So I don't know where he stands on anything right now, so.
Okay, all right. I didn't reach out to him because I knew we were working on this and
Yeah.
it hadn't been completed, so I wasn't sure what happened while I was gone, so. So maybe we should go through it, and, because there were some questions and there were some areas that had some comments on it. And it's too bad we can't share it, but I can't screen share is disabled, so I can't do anything about that.
Can you
So,
tell us the date you sent them so we can find it in the email? And maybe we can send that to Trish, or is that all right or not?
Yeah, it's okay.
Let me see.
is it the same one that I sent to you, Paula, or has it changed?
No, it hasn't changed, unless
Okay.
you guys had worked on it since I was gone, since I got back.
Since you got back, no, we haven't changed it, that I know of, so, oh, okay. I don't know what that is. But I just have to go to my email, I guess, pull it up.
Yeah, it wasn't last week, it was the week before. Maybe it's 2 weeks before.
I had it a little while ago and now I lost it.
Well, let's
It's
see.
on a long string, so it's sometimes hard to.
No, she just sent it just to me, and so it's a short one.
Oh, the whole thing that has, it starts with community vision and then
Yeah.
it's got the goals. Well,
Yeah.
that's like a few pages. So I have it from 10/28/21, but that was only sent to me. So I could forward that to everyone. Would that work?
I don't know, Ellen, is that the last version? That's the only problem.
Yes, the one
Yeah,
that I
that is.
sent, Nancy, whatever we did, and
Yeah.
then I sent to you, that was the final one that I
Okay,
did.
so I'll just forward it.
Okay, I have it, so you don't need to bother.
Okay, so I'm sending it to Paula and to.
I have it.
Okay,
Nancy, I have it.
all right. And then is it okay if I send it to Trish?
Sure.
Thank you.
Public document, so.
Yeah.
Rebecca, do you have it?
I can't find it, no.
I
You sent-
just sent it out to the three of you. So
Okay,
tell
thank
me
you.
if you get it. Somebody,
Okay, I have it, thank you.
do you have it, Trish?
Yes, I do.
Good. Ellen, is there anything that Courtney told you that you should share with us?
Not really. I mean, we just talked about process and what he still had left to do and some of the ADA stuff. But I mean, I think he really wanted us to focus on this. This was the big
Okay.
thing. And I think that was sort of the takeaway.
Okay.
There was some other stuff, like as far as like other things, I think he's just working on it sort of internally right now. But I was hoping to get sort of like a very short list of like, this is the most important thing to do, but he just, maybe he thought we talked enough, but we didn't get to that level. So I was hoping for that, but yeah, he's working on a lot of stuff. That's really was the takeaway, so.
Okay.
My yellow is stuff that I added, and I think the green is stuff that other people might have added or had questions about. That's my color coding.
Okay, all right, that's helpful, because I wasn't sure what the yellow, I wasn't sure what it was when I read it, so.
So anything yellow is, I added either with Nancy or on my
Okay.
own. So.
All right, so should we just, I don't think we really necessarily have to go on to go through anything on page 1 or page 2.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I see who you added. Do we have an ADA coordinator? Have we ever figured that out? I didn't think we had one.
Well, Robin DiStefano is officially the ADA coordinator.
Okay,
But my understanding is the only thing she actually does is if somebody has a concern or a complaint, she provides the form, or at least guidance on getting the form to register a complaint or concern. We talked to Tony, Nancy, I don't think he had much to say on that, except for some communities do an ADA study of their town to see what the needs are. There's a little bit of a concern that sort of puts you on the spot once you've identified needs, that you would then, if somebody had a problem because those needs weren't met, even although they were identified, that there could be some liability issues. So there's sort of a 50-50 on whether it's a valuable or a wise thing to do.
So we didn't we think, Ellen, that Courtney was going to go around and do all that in the open space areas?
He was, yeah, he was going to do that. That is something he said he was planning to do. But, a more formal one would be, like
Right.
the government has like a form, this process that you go through. And that's what we talked to Tony about, whether that would be.
Right. So
something we should write in.
because
Yeah.
for the whole town, Courtney would only be doing the open space areas, not the whole town. And there's things
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
the town that obviously need to be identified. So there was the question about whether Tony would make a proposal to do that, or get some funding or something to do that. But
Yeah.
we didn't ever resolve it. And he agreed
Right.
it was nobody but Robin that was at this point in the town in an official capacity.
Right.
all right, so we're gonna have to leave that for now. I agree with you, Ellen. The more you identify things that never get done, the more in the ADA area, the more you are opening yourself up to liability.
Yeah.
So
that's,
The other thing that I just, as a sidebar, Paula, we did talk a lot with Tony about the ROWs.
okay,
And he wanted us absolutely to identify them all and to put them on a map, which, and that he said that that's what we should do. So Ellen and I started, and then Rebecca was gonna take it up for Big Nahant, but there was some liability worry about that, but he just said, no, whatever we have is public information, we should put in our plan.
okay, all right, good.
Did you get
That's
the
good.
link I sent you all?
Yep.
yes. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it's too bad because I can't share the screen for that one either. So,
Yeah.
There were a few, while we're talking about it, there were a few properties that I had questions about, because I think I said to you, Ellen, I'm not understanding fully the right of way situation in Big Nahant.
Right.
They're just listed so differently, so I included them all.
Yeah.
But I don't know if all of them are definitely right of ways
Okay.
in the sense that we're talking about them.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
some of them are just town-owned strips for sewer access and things like that. So I'll look at your list and go through it, and then you and I can connect about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, though.
Mhm.
do we want to talk about those now? Because I didn't think the spreadsheet was that big.
It's not that long. I think there's maybe 50.
Oh, that's kind of a lot.
Well,
Do you want to go over
I
which
skipped
ones you
two
had
lines.
questions about? You want to go over which ones you had questions about?
sure.
So I don't know that I have that document.
I just shared it. It was a Google sheet. Do you want me to send it again?
Okay, so then I
I
would.
sent
have-
it maybe an hour ago or 2 hours ago,
oh,
maybe.
All right, but I would have to open it in a Google Doc.
Yes.
Okay.
So do you want to start with the ones you might have had questions about? I'm going to pull up the Patriot. If anybody wants to see them on the map, you can pull up the Patriot properties.
So, to explain to Trish, the planning board had done a whole bunch of stuff, mostly in Little Nahant. So it was fairly easy to come up with the right of ways and many people had been notified. But in Big Nahant, there was a lot of, we just had to go to a big map and use the GIS things to try to figure them out. And that's what Rebecca's problem was, not understanding them, what they were.
Yes. So, for example, if you go onto the map, it's not listed under town-owned property. But if you go onto the map and look for 77 Castle Road, so it's basically like where the road forks on Castle Road. And there's that little beach that's not actually Doggy Beach on your right-hand side. They call it Nahant Clock and Bell Beach.
Yeah, that's a weird name for that beach.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I've never heard that before.
So that one is listed, the list, hold on, let me pull it up myself too. The listing of it is a little bit odd, what they call it. Let me see, I wrote it down.
The Hot Clock and Bell Beach, never heard of it.
I know.
No.
I saw that too. I thought it was strange. I've never heard that. Why can't I can't pull up the map on it for some reason.
And neither can I.
It's strange. Sometimes I was noticing the website just doesn't load it. Like
Yeah,
it,
that's what
I don't know. I didn't really. So anyway, that one is technically town. It says it's a town right of way, but it's listed as private.
Huh.
So I didn't know if it was actually town owned or if it's owned privately, but there's no person on the parcel. There's no like owner listed.
That's, huh. I'm trying to pull up the map so I can get on it, but the map.
No,
won't
and then
load.
if we could,
I don't know.
so it's
That's kind of a-
70. It's, I guess technically the listing is 70. It's 23-0-70 Castle Road. So town of Nahant right of way. But on the map, they call it something different and my map's not really loading either.
So can you give me that parcel ID again? I'm looking.
Yes. Okay, so what they call it is a private right of way.
Okay,
And the parcel is 23-0-70.
okay. Right, it says Town of Nahant owner right of way Castle Road
Mm-hmm.
on the property card. But yeah, the map feature is not working. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know about that one. We'll have to research it, but
Okay,
yeah,
so that was one. Let's see, there's also, you'll see that there's just, there's a bunch of blanks. So like, for example, the, for all the ones that you guys found, you could find the right of way number, and I didn't have any luck with right of way number.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm thinking they
Um,
might not have numbers in, maybe they weren't numbered in Big Nahant because they're range roads instead of property rights of way.
Okay,
It's a little bit of a different concept.
okay. And then the other one, it's a private right of way, which again, it does have an owner. it's the one on Tudor Beach. It's 89 Willow Road. It's between
Yeah.
89 Willow Road and 91 Willow Road.
Right.
I think it's a woman's driveway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the Greens driveway. I think it's actually, that is a private right of way that was deeded with the property.
It's not the Greens, it's further
Oh.
down towards.
Okay.
Is it Kathy Lundberg's? Is
Yeah,
it Kathy Lundberg's?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's private.
Okay.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure if we wanted to include those. And then there's one more. I wrote it down. I didn't write the parcel number down correctly, sorry. I wrote down 12 and I know there's more to it.
Okay.
Well, I can get back to that one with you.
Okay.
Because I can't remember which one that is now.
That's it. Yeah.
But
That's
other
fine.
than that, that's what it was. It's the parcel ID is 25B-0-12A. And I don't think it's technically a right of way. I think it's a town-owned property that happens to have a path that goes through it in Little Nahant. And I wasn't sure if we wanted that one included.
25B-0-
Dash.
33G. No.
12A. So let me be sure that that's the right one. 25.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that strip of land.
I'm looking at it. Trying to visualize where it is. Little Nahant Road.
So it's like when you come around, so it's like that when you're leaving Nahant, you take the first right-hand turn into Little Nahant, and as you come around that steep corner
Mhm.
and then loop back to take another corner, it's like that hill is up on your left.
Okay.
And it is like it's a path that people walk up and down.
Does it
But I
go, where
think
does it
it's
go to? Does it go to the beach?
No, it goes up the hill.
Oh,
What's the name of that road? Let me see. Range Road.
Range Road? Yeah.
okay.
I
It
think it's
probably
just
is a- It probably is a public right of way.
It's pretty wide.
Yeah. And
Is it
it looks like
12A?
it-
12A, yeah, and it has like a paved pathway that goes up it.
it's hard without having the maps available, so that's annoying. But okay, so we'll look at that one. I think it probably is a public right of way.
Okay,
Yeah, it's right after the intersection of Little Nahant Road and Chamberlain Circle. So,
Okay. All right.
but
So-
yeah, and then other than that, I just separated them. So pretty much all of the big Nahant ones that aren't listed the same way as the little Nahant ones are at the bottom of the list.
Okay. Great.
Before we actually made our map, it probably would be good for us to go over this with somebody else, like from the town or something, or the planning board, just to make sure we're doing the right thing. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe with Sheila.
well,
Yeah,
especially, did Courtney say that he could put this on a map?
yeah, he
Yeah.
did. All we had to do is give him the addresses and he would stick them on a map. And,
So may-
and
so
so I
maybe-
want to make sure we're doing the right thing before we,
So maybe once we get this list, Rebecca, did you have any other questions on it?
No, I think that's good.
maybe if we send him this list and he puts it on a map, then we sit down with somebody, because it's going to be much clearer if you show a map at the same time rather than just a list and having, somebody having to look at a map. It's unwieldy, as we're finding out right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And so if we send this to him as a draft and say we need to put this on a map, and then go back and sit down with either the planning board or Tony or somebody to do it that way. That might be the most efficient way, because then we have it on a map.
Yeah, that will be good, except that Courtney never does stuff.
I know, I'm gonna call him tomorrow. That's why I wanted to have this meeting. I wanted to see where we were with them, who had talked to him, and I'm gonna try to reach out to him tomorrow.
Okay. So
Because
that,
he owes us other chapters too.
yeah,
Yes.
that never were delivered.
Right. Okay,
Is there a
so,
way, sorry, one more question about the maps. Is there a way, to get this maps that are with all of the parcels of land, like hard copies for him? Like, because I'm just thinking, like, if you send addresses, it's still a little confusing as far as, because it's not always like directly between a house. Like sometimes it's the edge of someone's property and then the back of someone's property.
But this map is not going to be really that detailed.
Oh, it's not.
Well, it's to be that detailed, it would have to be lots of different sections, I would think. And I just think it's kind of, I don't know. What do you think, Ellen?
Well, I think he could use the same map that Rebecca and us and we have been using to locate the properties, because otherwise, yeah, there's no like address that you can just like Google map an address. He is using GIS maps, so he
Right.
probably has
Right.
access to this. Hopefully he can cross-reference our list with what the map shows, hopefully.
We
and
can also,
the town's GIS maps are actually pretty good. So he should
Yeah.
be able to just use this list and just pick out one of the addresses and go to the town's GIS map, and it's going to be pretty clear, I think.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Because that's really where we got it from too, so, yeah.
okay, so that's one item on your bullet list to talk to
Yep.
him about, Paula.
Yep.
And some of the right of ways, I guess maybe this is just me not knowing enough about it, but don't actually lead anywhere. But they're listed as right of ways, but they're not actually cut throughs to anything or what you would maybe think of as a right of way always.
Okay.
Like, for
Meaning they don't really-
example,
yeah.
I could give you an example of one that I thought was kind of odd, like why you would even have that on a map would be kind of strange. Like, why would anyone need to know about it? But so for example, the edge of the property, so it's White Way is one edge of it, and then the other edge is 41 Pond Street. So I don't know if you're familiar with White Way, but basically you come around a corner and it's just the edge of the person's property is technically a right of way.
That could be like a neighborhood right of way,
Okay,
which would be maybe considered more of a private right of way. There are a few of those in town where like it's an established cut through for a neighborhood. Like I know there's one on Intervale that used to be like a neighborhood right of way, but it wasn't really a public right of way. So
yeah.
so, and not all of them I think are still in use. Maybe.
Okay.
But I maybe Paula, you know too, that I don't think that some of those are considered public, but they might still be on the map. I'm not sure, but I'd have to look at that one, Rebecca, on a map and see. But
Okay.
that's something maybe Sheila can help us with too. So.
Oh, so are you looking at the right of way right on the corner where it says right of way 10 feet or 15 feet or something?
Yeah, so it's basically like the edge of Jim's property onto
Yeah.
White Way. So that's not really,
It could be, so something like that could be a taking or something for the street. So because it's adjacent to the street, so it could be something for a sidewalk or something that
Okay.
showed up in a deed for something like that. I don't know if we really have to list those.
Right.
yeah.
So it could be drain access to drainage or something, you know, so, yeah, so I think Sheila might be able to help us with those ones that we aren't sure what their purpose.
Okay, yeah, so maybe this isn't the best list to be sending to Courtney, but we could fine tune this list. Because things like that, maybe he wouldn't want to put on a map.
Yeah, certainly not into our plan. We would have to vet it first before we
Yeah.
put them out there, yeah,
Right.
right.
Because if the idea of this list is so that people know where they can cut through, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so things like that, I think I went a little too detailed on, but
Yeah,
they're on the list, so we know
Right.
them at least.
well, it's comprehensive and we can whittle it down to what is needed for the plan, so.
Okay,
Yeah, we wouldn't put like sewer right of ways and things like that. That doesn't make any sense, so.
yeah, I left those out,
Yeah,
but yeah,
Yeah, so like if you go further down and look at Southfield Road, which is paper, I don't think legally that's a road, so, or it could be. So what happens legally is if you have a road in between two people's houses and it's not public and there were no rights granted to members of the public to use it, then it means that it's owned by the two people on either side and they can block it and not allow people to use it. So part of this is a legal determination. Like I worked on one on Nahant Road that I don't think is shown on the map. Hold on. No, it's not. But it was on somebody's title and it looked like there was a road, but there wasn't a road. And legally I had to do all the research to prove that it wasn't the road. And then we ended up having to do a new plan for the planning board so that it wasn't a road and it got extinguished that way. So roadways, private rights of way can be extinguished by people that own on either side. So let me take a look at this and look at the map and figure out what maybe we should do that instead of, because I thought, well, we could just send it to him and see what he does, but let me take a look. You had a question on 9 Vernon Street. What was that about?
that's a similar one. Wait, is that a similar one? Let me pull it up. There was one on Vernon Street that was similar, just kind of like the edge of someone's property. Oh, this was one that it came up on the map. And again, I thought it was private land. And on the map, it lists it as right of way. I'll pull it up. Yeah, so behind 9 Vernon Street, it says right of way. It's basically that road that like it almost is like a driveway that leads down behind the houses along the beach there.
Oh yeah, that's that is that the abutters who own the property adjacent to that post it periodically so that members of the public can't get rights in it. That's the one that goes all along the beach.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one was.
So I put it on there
Yeah,
because it was on the map, but I wasn't sure
Right.
if it was private land.
Yeah, the abutters to that property, those properties contend it's private, and I don't know if the town's ever fought them on it. It used to be a public road, so it used to be a
Yeah.
road that led to the steamship for the Nahant Hotel, the steamship wharf drop off there before they started using the town wharf. And there was a roadway, but I think the neighbors have extinguished it. Just what I was talking about before. If you can't prove that members of the public have rights in it, then the neighbors are pretty free to do what they want with it.
Okay.
So I think that's, because I remember walking up there one time and there's this legal thing you can do. It's called notice to prevent acquisition of easement. And they had done that and they had posted it, and it has to be posted by a sheriff. And it was posted on one of the fences up there. So the neighbors to that right of way consider that to be private.
Okay. So we could take that one off then.
Yeah, we can take that one off. Unless the town is arguing about that, but I don't know, did that come up, Ellen, in any of the conversations?
It didn't, but I think it's something that we should probably not just discard. It's possible that they, that the town still considers it a legal right of way, although it doesn't say so on the map per se. I'm looking at, I finally got the maps up. It's because I had cookies on, or block cookies or something. So anyway, that runs along Joe's Beach. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was a source of controversy, as you said, Paula, and I think it's one of the reasons the preambulation kind of got ditched in the early 90s, was there was controversy about this particular one. So it's, it's possible it no longer exists, and that's okay, but I think we should probably just run it by the planning board first before we don't include it. Because once it's not included, it's the town sort of stating that it's not a right of way. And if that's not the town's stance, then we shouldn't put that out there, I guess. So I'd like to clarify it, I guess.
I wonder why the document that we had from the planning board didn't include these other ones in Big Nahant, like we asked Rebecca to look at. Like, why did they stop in Little Nahant and not put more of Big Nahant?
Well, they focused on Little Nahant because those are, it's hard to explain, and Sheila explained it to me. I'll leave it at that. And it's still hard to explain. So, rights of ways versus range road rights of ways are different. So the ones in Little Nahant are rights of ways. You walk down a street, you take a left, and you go to the ocean. The ones in Big Nahant are considered ranges, where they're usually at the ends of streets that cross from ocean to ocean from one side to the other. So like, you think of Winter Street, you can get access to the ocean on both sides of it, or Ocean Street. So that's generally where the rights of ways were, that you should be able to go on a road and end up at the ocean, regardless of who owns the land near the ocean. And so that's how they're really range roads as opposed to rights of way in Big Nahant. And so they're a little harder to survey because they're technically at the end of roads. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
It does.
And I think
so it would mean that, so that would lead you to believe that the way that the roads were laid out was to give people rights of way to the ocean.
Exactly.
But that means that there weren't that many other true rights of way that were created in order to get to the ocean. So you wouldn't have a right of way between two houses if they were both near a street that already went to the ocean. So that's the argument for that. That, and Nahant's never really done a whole lot of things legally with roadways. So that's why surveyors have a really hard time surveying Nahant, because the roads were never formally laid out the way roads are in other cities and towns. So, but that makes sense though. I can see that.
Right, yeah. Which does make the case for the one that goes to Joe Beach being the end of Willow Road as you hit the ocean on the corner there. And then of course, Bailey's Hill at the other end of Willow. So, I mean, I can see that being a range road as well as, so so there's, that's sort of the concept, is that it's supposed to be at the end of a road, you should be able to get to the ocean if it abuts the ocean, so.
Right.
I do think the answer too is that maybe they didn't have the money, maybe, they had a lot of CPC funds for Little Nahant, and they did put a lot of energy into that as far as money and surveying and documenting. I just don't think they have spread it to Big Nahant. I think they moved on to other things and it kind of fell to the back of the room, so to speak. So that's my understanding of it. So
So I guess we need some explanation. But I also think it would be good in our blurb about right-of-ways that we offered some of this explanation to people. You know, that the different kinds of roads, and I mean, somehow
yeah,
there's a reason why we're supposed to be doing this all, like
right.
Courtney wants it in the plan, but it would be good to educate people about these different kind of roads and the process in a certain way that wouldn't legally get us in trouble.
Right. Actually, Dan's script is a really good resource too. So if that's somebody that we want to, you know, if somebody wants to sit down with Dan and kind of go through it too, he's very knowledgeable and he has a lot of, you know, high level information about this. So he may be a good resource for us when we want to really get it down to what we should be putting on the map.
Good.
Okay. Any other questions, Rebecca, on any of them, Big Nahant?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. So let's go back to the draft. Okay, so we got through the ADA quarter. So let's go back to the draft, Ellen, that you sent around on the vision and the goals and the action plan.
Mhm.
And let's start on page, so I see what you added. So I think those are all great. Do you want to start on page 4?
Sure.
Which is objective 1.1 in the action items.
Mhm.
I think these look good.
I'm just sort of reviewing them myself as see. One thing I wanted to ask, and maybe Courtney's the best person to answer this. You know, I don't want to ignore the fact that a lot of people are super pumped about pickleball. And I know that there's some courts being put in, but I feel like we should say somewhere in the plan, we know there's some courts being put in now, and we would like to do like a 3-year review and see how those courts are being used and if it's meets the needs of the town or whatever, you know, just something. I don't know where you put that though. Is it naturally?
I can tell you that people have already come to, we heard this from Tony, but we also heard it at a CPC meeting that there's people already that's saying one court is not enough and they want more courts and this and that. So I think that's where the idea comes up, like you're saying, Ellen, that we, I don't know if they bring it to the CPC committee and they say they're going to accept it to put in additional courts in town, or whether there's going to be a study. But there is, as you know, there are a couple of people who are really, really wanting more courts already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they came to our meeting. They came to
Right.
one of our meetings.
That's right, right.
So do we have anything? So would it go in objective 3.1, expand active recreation?
Oh, okay, that's probably where it goes. I hadn't really looked. I was thinking it would go where we were just talking about, so I jumped ahead on you, but expand active recreation nature. Yeah, that's probably where it would go, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Also, number 3.12 is continually assess the needs and proactively plan. And then Paula, you said, do we need this?
So this is my thing. This was my thing about this whole thing, is kind of like the ADA. The more you identify things and then don't ever do them, the worse the town always looks.
Right.
So one of my things about the whole goal an action plan, and why I put that in a couple different sections, is because I felt like we were saying things twice. And one of the things I want to, like, when we went back and looked at the 2008 plan, there were concrete things that had been done. The Heritage Trail was done. You know, there were quite a few things that were in that plan that had actually been completed. What I hate to set us up for is to go back in 5 years or 10 years and have none of this be done. And so that was my sort of macro thinking about listing too much, because you just set yourself up for, we're a small town. There's only, we do have a fair amount of volunteers on all the different committees, but there's, the town hall has no staff. It's really hard to then look at it in 5 years or 7 years when we're supposed to be looking at it and say, why didn't we do all this? And so that was my thing when I said, do we really need to list this? Now, that being said, because I said that on this one, I think I have to take it back, because I think the pickleball one is a perfect example that we have to hit the nail on the head with this. They came to our meeting, they're at the CPC, they're complaining to Tony. So there's enough critical mass of people. I mean, we don't have that in anything
I think
else.
it's two people who are really loud personally, but maybe I'm wrong.
But it's, we haven't heard loud people on anything else really, since we've been doing this. So it came up in the survey.
It definitely came up in the survey several times, not just two. So
Right.
It's definitely, people are excited about it. Maybe we should steer them towards platform, but that's for another day. Pretty similar.
So Trish is involved in a lot of this stuff. Do you have anything to add to this conversation, because you are a pickleball player?
I am a pickleball player and I go to Marblehead to play pickleball. Boy, would I rather play right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely it's a very exciting time for pickleball. I would say a lot of people are really into it, and so I think I wanted to capture it in our plans somehow, at least acknowledge the interest and state what the town is doing, and then reassess in a certain time frame on what the town needs are for pickleball. So I thought that was important to add in. So, but I didn't add that in yet. So let you guys think about that.
Yeah, I think we should add it in this section.
I mean, we could say,
3.1.
or even 3.2, continually assess community needs through stakeholder surveys and proactively plan for recreational programming. And we could say, I mean, in activities such as pickleball or something.
Should we add another action plan or have it as part of an existing action plan?
I
think we should do it. I think we should do a separate one,
Okay.
because, and it's so recent now, because we know that the tennis court that they're doing right now is going to have pickleball on it.
Okay. So we'll add an action there.
Yeah.
Add to.
So Ellen, do you own this document? Is this yours?
It's an addendum of Courtney's original one.
I know, but is this, I mean, can you make the changes?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that and send it. I won't send out the whole document. I'll send out what I'm going to add. Yeah.
Okay.
Or I can just, whatever. Yeah, either one.
Okay.
Let's see how many other changes we have.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back to action objective 1.1.
Okay.
I thought this was great.
Okay,
One thing to keep in mind is down the road, we're gonna have to separate this into years, like 7 years. So we're gonna have to, because in the plans that we've reviewed, they just then break this down as to year 1, year 2, year 3, like that. So
right,
it's something to
That's
keep
true.
in mind.
yeah,
And that's where I start having agita, because there's no way the town can do it all.
Of
Right.
course.
So, but let's just keep going through this.
we can cut out, if we feel we have too many action items, we certainly can pare it down.
Yeah,
See how we
yeah.
feel.
So for now, let's leave them. And when we have to go into the granular, what we're going to do in year 1, year 2, year 3, maybe we realize that, one of the things that I thought were a lot of these were sort of talking about the same things, but then maybe not. So maybe there's a way to incorporate it all in one or something, but
Because we certainly added other stuff to what Courtney had given us.
Right.
correct.
We made
Correct.
it worse by,
And maybe he can guide us on whether we just have too much and we need to pare it down. So see what he says.
Well, he wants to include everything. My feeling of when he's been on is he wants to include, like, we need more.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can give you another CPA bit of information, is that we found out that the state is going to be giving out a big chunk of money. And Lynn wrote this thing saying she thinks we may get I don't know, 80% or a really high level of what more than we ask for. So there's going to be a lot of push to get people to write grants, just to let you know, and that, impacts on some, because we mentioned CPC grants to fund for some of these objectives. So just
Okay.
an FYI.
oh, under this one, oh no, wrong one. Go ahead, never mind.
So yeah, so we're on objective 2.1 now, which is the accessibility.
Mhm.
So that action 2.1.2, that's the one I think Tony was a little bit reluctant on us pursuing, I think.
But
Only
we have to pursue it.
Well, I don't know if we have to.
Well,
I'm not sure.
I mean, there's an ADA, whatever Courtney does, that ADA
Oh, yeah.
self-evaluation, that's
But
part of.
that's different from an evaluation and transition plan, which is sort of a national thing that you have, that is like a very formal study of your ADA accessibility in town.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm thinking that maybe we should go with what Courtney says, but we could ask him about, I just remember the conversation with Tony, Nancy, but he
Yeah.
sort of like, if you kind of do something like that, then you're on the hook for fixing it, so anyway, I'm just not sure if we should include that one or not.
So do we take out 2.1.2 and just go with 2.1.1 and 2.1.3?
So right now, what I'm going to do is cross out 2.1.2, and we can maybe ask Tony or ask, oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, so 2.1, sorry, I'm having trouble with my computer. 2.1.2, we probably will take that out. We
Okay.
still have to do the open space plan that Courtney's going to do, I think, Nancy. I think that's
Right. I mean, we have
Separate.
to. That's what has to.
And
be
that's,
part of the
yeah,
plan.
and that's action 2.1.1.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
So
just
it's the next
includes
one.
the open spaces.
Yeah.
right, which is really our jurisdiction. So yeah, so I'll take that one out. Yeah.
Okay.
No sense looking for trouble. So,
And I think 2.1.4 is good because he's doing that now as part of the Short Beach thing, right?
Right, yep,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of Short Beach, and he mentioned a number of other places in town. For example, the place by the wharf, where there's all these rounded corners, and he just felt that that limited visibility. And so they plan on reworking those corners by there to make it safer.
What corners, where?
So, you know, you go out of the wharf, there you go down Wharf Street, and then there's that thing in the middle of the street.
Yeah, the subway stop?
Yeah. But though all those corners are really like, this is what he said, they're rounded, they're not squared. And so people's visibility are limited, and he thought it was a safety issue. I'm
Okay,
just telling you what he told us, but he has
Okay.
plans for a lot of places in town, not only Short Beach.
and adding a crosswalk there, I think, on one of the
Yeah.
corners, yeah.
Right. And there's a bus stop near there too, which, you know, makes that crosswalk.
well, the town's pretty bad with crosswalks, so.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so
Okay.
objective 2.2.
Yeah, this is a formatting error, but it's supposed to be all, you know, an objective, not, yeah.
Oh, all right, okay, all right, I get it, okay.
Yeah, so this kind of goes back to that, this is a,
It's sort of a little bit the same as 2.1.4 in terms of
yeah.
sidewalks.
Yeah, I mean, the objectives were all headlines by, the objectives were all Courtney's objectives. I don't think we added any objectives.
Okay.
But I don't know if we can. The other one was specifically for elderly and persons with disabilities, and this one is just greater
Right,
The
access.
these are
rest-
okay.
The rest of the people.
I mean,
Yeah.
increase secure bike parking, you know, that did come up in the survey too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm okay with that, I think those are okay.
okay,
And now 2.3,
yeah.
This is where the ROWs come under.
yeah, exactly.
And Tony was very positive about kayak and paddleboard racks at different beaches. He thought that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
So that's something that they'll help us with.
So I'm looking at objective 2.2 and 2.3, and they're super similar. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe we take out 2.3.2 and just go with action 2.3.3.
yeah. So 2.3.2, I can probably take out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so I guess, yeah, specifically the kayaks, I guess that's access to open space and coastline,
Yep.
right? As opposed, yep.
And it was big in the survey, so.
Yeah,
Yeah. The only caveat to that one, we did talk to Tony about that one, Nancy, remember, and he liked the idea of tutor, but he said it would have to be up on like the sidewalk area, which may not be so great. The neighbors might not like that. I don't know. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. But anyway.
yeah, I don't think they needed it at Tudor Beach. I think it was more the wharf and, I mean, it was definitely by the Coast Guard station in Short Beach.
Right, which
Yeah.
seems very doable.
Well,
Yeah.
except, you know, at Tudor, everybody ties them. I mean, the kayaks are all tied to that railing.
Right.
And,
It seems to work though for people.
right, but some people have raised questions about the stability of that whole wall and, you know, about, there's been a big plan about the impact of water and stuff about Short Beach, but what about the impact of the water in Tidal climate change and everything about Tudor.
Yep.
Thrown it out. It's a pretty big unstudied area, and houses are pretty big at risk because of that.
Hmm.
But anyway,
All right. Okay, so let's go on to objective 3.1.
Yeah, so this, Courtney wanted this one in here, as you recall, so.
I know,
Well, should
I know.
So, maybe it's, he knows.
Just leave it. You know what? Just leave it.
Yeah.
Could we combine 1 and 2? Like continually assess and increase, like to increase the recreational programming, what if people don't need more? That's why you would assess it, right?
Right. So you're thinking if we combine 3.1.1 and 3.1.2 into one action?
Because then it would,
I mean-
then it would assess, you would, like, for example, with the pickleball situation, you would assess it. And if people feel that they do need more, or I'm trying to think of other things you would be assessing.
Right.
Swimming lessons, that came up in the survey.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah. Anybody want to tackle that one? See if they can add in a couple. If they want to come up with a better way to combine those.
I don't know. I think
Just keep
maybe it's
it.
not work. I don't know.
Well, that's the one we're also going to add the pickleball sitch to, so we can,
so I mean, the first one says increase it based on our survey. And then the second one says continually assess for, stuff in the future, like giving the survey the weight that people said that they wanted things increased about. And then the second one is about going beyond that to keep assessing it.
That's true, yeah.
okay. We good?
Yep.
Okay.
I like 3.2.2.
Yeah, and that's, we can also throw in the stuff about the nature, art and whatever that's gonna happen again this May, which is gonna be expanding art stuff and people doing painting and pictures and stuff outside in the art. So I mean, that'll be something we could use as an example.
Okay,
of
all
what
right.
we're doing in the town.
So something like provide support in the ongoing, whatever, yep, something like that, as part of one of the action items?
Yeah,
Okay,
create a forum such as the art, nature, whatever they're calling the thing,
okay,
to just cite that,
okay.
because it is
Alright.
gonna happen again. And
So
we-
it is happening. What are they doing?
Well, that's all under discussion and some little fighting about passive and active recreation and stuff like that. But I mean, Jim wants to have the things like were happening last year and have the maypole and have the dancing at the top and have walks for people and elderly people being brought up there and bird watching like we did last year and the people doing arts, but he wants to expand it into more art activities and have people go and paint together or, do art stuff together. So, and he's talking about 2 days of it and he's having meetings with a lot of the library and all sorts of other town organizations. So
Well, that's
It-
good.
It's going to happen in some form or another, and it is about arts and nature. So it fits into this deal.
Okay, that's good.
Yep.
Okay, action, objective 4.1, support town in implementing planned drainage improvements for the lowlands area. Plan is underway.
Yeah. This one still confuses me because I'm not sure it's our thing, but I forget. Did we put it in there? I can't remember how it got in there.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
It's just something that we hear a lot about.
Right, yeah,
And
okay,
think we're going to keep hearing more about it. So,
okay,
and Tony definitely is involved, and the DPW are involved in one aspect of it.
yeah,
So this is how I sort of, because I had put a lot of comments on, like, do we need this? Is this really within the scope of our committee?
Right.
But then when you step back, and I sort of got this from Courtney at our last meeting that he attended, which is if you step back and you think this is an open space and recreation plan for the entire town, not
Yeah.
just for stuff for us to do. So it probably makes sense adding things like this as a realization that it's happening and it does affect open spaces.
True.
So,
yeah,
so I'm okay with that. I don't think there's really anything we're gonna have to do with it, because I think the town's gonna take care of it all, so.
right. Do we need to add anything to our action item then?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think we want to really keep it
Support.
unspecified, supported, unspecified.
Support.
We don't.
I like
Yeah.
that word, because I don't think that word was there. I think you guys added that word.
Yeah, we don't want to get on either
Yeah.
side of the argument.
right.
Exactly.
I think it's the only place where I put all capital letters.
I think the other ones are great.
Okay.
So Nancy, you added the carbon stuff? Good luck.
Well, we have to, I just feel we have to deal with these issues. I mean, what we can do and what we can't do doesn't mean we don't have to acknowledge that they're issues, and we have to educate people. I mean, there's talk about even having town composting, and I think,
What happened to everybody do their own composting? We compost.
well, this is what happens. You have bird feeders, the seeds drop to the ground, the rats come, the coyotes come. You have composting. I had to stop composting because I got so many rats that the neighbors were actually complaining. So it works in some places and it doesn't work in others. And so now I compost in the green containers. But the argument about supporting composting is that we pay for our garbage by weight, and so much of the material, of vegetable material, has weight, the water weight. So if you compost your stuff, it takes, this is what Swim says, you're
I
gonna.
know, I got them. I got the 2 flyers.
All right, okay, well,
So-
I'm just saying, but everybody in town got them too, so.
All right, I'm okay with that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and the noise thing has to do with the airports, and what, solar, I mean, this whole, the whole Glasgow thing just happened, and I think we really need to, in town,
I know.
talk about it in some way, even though we can't come up with. And then I thought, because of the whole Short Beach thing, sending in about the dunes and replanting and that kind of stuff. Maybe it's redundant. Maybe we stick it into.
Yeah, I think that one's a little redundant because we already talked about that. So, but I think, I think 4.1.5, I think the state's probably going to be looking for something like that because that's such a big part of what the state's doing right now.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that one.
All right. I mean, we can chuck out the other part if you want, because it does come up about Short Beach thing.
Right.
Which one are we checking out?
4.1.6.
Okay. Okay,
All right, now we're on to 5.1. Has anybody looked at the stormwater management program? I haven't even looked at it yet. Has anyone looked at it? Because it was news to me when Courtney brought it up.
no, I haven't looked at it.
I tried to read over it that night. It's lengthy, very lengthy.
It's not
put you to sleep?
bedtime reading.
Well, I was interested in it because he mentioned it, but then I realized it's quite a read. I have not gotten back to it yet.
How about we put here, support the DPW in implementing
Where are we talking about?
action 5.1.1?
To say support instead of work with?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We're very supportive.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
Organize a virtual event to Think Blue, Massachusetts educational webinar.
Yeah, let's take that out.
Okay.
That was a mistake. There is a thing you can do, but it really shouldn't be in the plan. It's something that we, if we want to do that, they have a webinar you can do, but, we don't need to put that in our plan, I don't think. So, yeah, so never mind.
Did you ever figure out what 5.1.5 means? Low impact development?
Yeah, so low impact development is like things like permeable pavers,
yeah.
instead of doing asphalt,
Yeah.
you do the type of pavement that allows the water to seep through as opposed to just sheet off.
Right.
Low impact development is keeping more natural spaces than just grass, more meadow type things. And Nahant's a pretty small place for this. We don't have a lot of development. But
Well, the top
this
of the,
sometimes gets into the low impact development, though, is probably included in most towns. It's included in the stormwater management program. So I don't know if it is in this one.
Did you get to that part, Rebecca?
No. I did not.
In areas where there's where they have watershed issues, if you're near the Concord River, for example, in Concord or Acton or areas like that, low impact development helps keep the groundwater and helps keep pollutants from going off your land into the river basin and things like that. That's what it's used for mostly.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And I don't know if it makes sense in we don't have a whole lot of marshes. I mean, it probably makes sense in areas right near the golf course, really. But there's not a lot of other areas, if you're on a rocky coastline, it doesn't really matter all that much, but
the part about, I know that SWIM has done stuff about, the pavers and permeability and rain gardens and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
right,
so there are
exactly.
little projects around Nahant that have been, but we could still tell, I mean, there's plenty of people who totally asphalt over their driveways.
I just use stone for permeable pavers. Bruce thought I was nuts. So did my husband.
It looks
But-
good. They tried chip seal on Marginal Road, but it was a disaster. So,
Really?
Yeah. Do you remember that? They did
I
that?
remember that.
Yeah. It was really bad for dogs. And it was just not very good.
Well, they should take I think they should take the asphalt up at the Lowlands parking lot. I don't think they should re-asphalt that parking lot. Because I don't think putting pavement there does anything for anybody, including flooding. So
Yeah, I agree. Well, should we leave it in as identify or
just-
explore?
yeah, leave it in there.
Okay. just have to figure out filling out the rest of the grid on that. Okay,
So 5.1.3, I thought that was sort of beyond us.
yeah,
But then, if I step back and say, well, this is a town thing,
Hmm,
I think the town has to do this. I think we could probably take this out because I think the town has to do that as part of the stormwater management program. So the
okay.
town gets a permit every so many years, and that's what the stormwater management program comes out of. It's an EPA permit to discharge water to the, where you see the drains, it says, don't dump drains to the beach or something.
Yeah,
That's part of the identifying pollution and how it gets into the water is part of all that. So,
Do we want to take it out or put support?
how about support?
Okay,
My favorite word in this plan.
I know, we're very supportive, very, very, very. All right, so at least
So-
we're aware it's happening and we're here if they need us.
Right.
So,
does the Green Committee, what does that do?
well, they're the ones that put out that solar and alternative energy, solar panels for,
Okay.
do you remember that? They had like a meeting at the Coast Guard station for people.
Right,
So they,
I just-
yeah.
I
that's
just want to
all.
give them credit or encourage them or, wherever they might fit in here.
Oh, I don't know if that's called Greenscapes or Green Communities. I forget. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up. I might be getting them mixed up. I'm
We
not
have
sure.
we have a committee in town.
Right. That's what I'm talking about, but I'm not sure Greenscapes is the same thing.
Oh, okay.
No, there is a group called North Shore Greenscapes that
Okay, all right.
encourages rain gardens and beach cleanups and all sorts of things on the North Shore, which
Okay.
SWIM has done work with the North Shore Greenscapes program. I don't know if that's where
Okay.
it came from or not, but
It must have come from there. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering, yeah.
I
That
just
might
want
have
to
been-
support
yeah.
our Green
Maybe-
Committee, whatever they do.
Maybe we take out 5.1.3 and then that will be what we do in action 5.1.4.
Okay,
Because it's kind of what we're, 5.1.4 is exactly, I think, more what we're doing because we don't really know about the greenscapes and stuff. We understand SWIM's worked with them, but
Mhm.
it's 5.1.4 that allows us to gain a better understanding and understand whether or not that's something that we should be doing in Nahant or not, it depends.
okay.
It's okay with us. With
So
me,
just take that one out and leave 4, which gives us the
Right,
goal of better understanding and collaboration. Okay,
and then keep 5.1.5.
okay. Again, this one, I wasn't really sure exactly who to put as our responsible parties, timeframes, things like that, so.
So maybe we take out 5.1.5, because I bet it's in the stormwater management program. And I'll take a look at that and let you know.
All right. So you want me to leave it in for now or take it out when I send you an updated copy?
Take it out, take it
Okay.
out.
Okay.
And I'll look at that, because maybe we add including low impact development and other measures.
Okay.
So I'll take a look at that. Where did you find that, Rebecca? Is that on the town website?
Yeah,
Okay.
Actually, if you type it into Google too, it just pops right up.
Oh, it does?
But
Okay,
it directs you to the Nahant website.
okay. So, develop a consistent, that's in blue, is that okay?
I'm sorry, where are we here?
Oh, you can keep, take out my comment. This is okay. This is one of the ones that I rethought after I did it.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Action 6.1.1.
Oh, okay. So the stuff about the air noise and all that,
Yeah,
that's just gonna stay, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And I think, isn't Dan Scripps a good source of stuff about that? Because isn't he the one that like flies a plane or understands about flight patterns and all that? One of the
Wow.
guys, one of our town,
That was Bob D'Amico.
okay. But somebody in town can.
Okay, that's okay, yeah.
Us. All right, so we're on 6 now.
Yeah, 6.1.
Okay,
Yeah, this is an important thing.
Yeah, I think this is okay. You can take out my comment.
okay,
Because there is a national park system way of doing signage, which we've been talking about in other places like East Point. It's the kind of thing they use along the Linway in Lynn. That's
Yep.
like this metal that's kind of etched and it like lasts a long time. So
Yeah, for the Heritage State Park and things like that.
yeah,
All right, I'm okay with action 6.1.2.
okay,
And I'm okay with the offer support to the robust volunteer program. We do have a good, I mean, when you think about all the committees, there's a lot of volunteers.
right. Okay, offer support.
He wanted us to develop a robust volunteer, and I'm like, wait a minute, we already have it. So
Yeah. All right, so we'll leave that offering.
can you imagine trying to get more volunteers?
No. We're good. So offer support, okay, so we're just going to offer support to the robust volunteer
Yeah.
program. Okay,
6.2.2, I think is good.
yeah, the forest playground and wildflower garden and all that is stuff we really want to make note of because they're important things that have
Yeah.
happened since the last plan and the community garden stuff. So
Right, exactly.
I don't know if I might have, did I add this one or was it already there? I don't remember, but it's a little bit, I think it's,
Are they both the same, kind of?
that's what I'm trying to remember. If I added one or if I redundant one. I mean, they could be included into one action for sure.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Yeah, okay,
right. It does support the previous objective.
okay. So those will be combined into one. Is that it?
That's it.
Wow.
So when we have our next town-wide meeting, whenever it is, December or January, this is what we're talking about, right? We're presenting these goals and objectives.
Yeah, we're talking about this and the entire plan. We're supposed to have a draft of the entire plan.
Oh,
And
well, that's
so-
not going to happen.
So that's why, so one of my listed, so I have for him on my list to talk to him about is the ADA open space and recreation areas. The Google Docs list, Rebecca, that you did. When we're gonna do the townwide meeting. And I'll resend, and I'm telling him I'm gonna resend, since we have this meeting, we drill down on the goals and action plan. We're gonna send that to him. I'll send that to him too. And then I want to talk to him about the schedule, because he owed us some chapters we didn't get.
Right.
And I think it's too, I mean, next week's Thanksgiving. I think it's too soon to try to do a public meeting in December.
If we had to just do the goals, that would be reasonable, because we just have to work on them a little. But if we have to submit the whole plan to them, I didn't understand that was happening. And we just, there's still so much we have to write.
Right, exactly. So. All right. Anything else you want me to ask him? And I'll look at the stormwater report about the low impact development, but I bet it's included in that. That's usually where it is.
I guess our next meeting's gonna be determined by what you talk, when you talk with him, right, Paula? Or
Right. 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 Because we're pretty far behind the schedule that he set. So,
Right, and we're pretty, if you look at my minutes, we're pretty far behind things he was supposed to send to us, as you were saying. So how could we work on it?
exactly. So,
Other than this, what we just did, is there anything else that we need to do ourselves? That's what I was looking for from him, but I didn't really.
Was
get
there
that.
some, that one part about all of the vegetation that
Oh,
you
yeah.
thought was too lengthy?
Yeah, that's right.
The
I was
part,
gonna work on that when I got back. Thank you
Yeah.
for the reminder.
it's a big, big difference between the 2008 plan and these more updated plans. They're not as verbal and going on and on. They're much more concise, you know? Not,
Yeah, it's like 12 pages and he wants
Yeah.
it cut down quite a bit, so. My
I'll be
homework.
happy to work with you on it. I mean, I
Okay,
I care about those plants. So,
okay. Sounds good.
you know what they are? I read it. I didn't know what half of them were. So
well,
I'd have to ask Rick, and you know, he knows the Latin name sometimes. So beyond me. All right, so I will reach out to him and I will let you know. And then maybe if we were to look at a meeting, it would probably be, it'd have to be after Thanksgiving. So it'd be sometime in December.
right, probably, so we're at the 16th now, maybe sometime of the week of the 13th, 14th, 15th, or,
Yep, yep. So let me find out from him where he is, and then if you guys look at the, I'll look at the stormwater, and then, have you heard, did Tony let you know anything else that's being planned that they're gonna do during the winter or anything? Did he say anything about any plans for Zach or anything like that?
What, is there anything specific you're wondering about, or?
No, just,
One thing he said was, and I think the last time, remember I said a few parents said, oh, we need a fence at library playground or Pleasant Street playground. And he said they actually have a fence to install. They just haven't gotten around to it.
right,
It's a no fence, which,
part of the library planning, I guess, or something like that.
yeah. So anyway, so that's like already in the works. So, so that was good to find out. Other than that, I don't think.
okay.
Sure. We did, did we tell you that we met with Kristen at Bailey's Hill? Did we?
Oh, no.
Okay, so Nancy and I met with Kristen Kent to get the conservation sort of seal of approval on what we're doing. And she actually had done a lot of legwork with Zach, and you have to correct me if I don't say it right, Nancy, but you know, she's trying to scale back what we were going to do. She doesn't really want us to remove as much as we intended. And she has set up a 2 or 3 year plan for the knotweed that's going to be cutting it back, putting in some poisonous stuff or whatever over a course of 2 or 3 years to kind of kill it back. And then take out some of the wood, but not all of the dead wood, and take out a few of the really bad trees, and then kind of slowly replant some stuff, but not as dramatic.
Right. So I mean, our vision was we're gonna like clear the place and then plant the next year, but that's not possible because she doesn't want so much cleared, number one, and number two, the use of chemicals in removing some of the bigger invasive plants means we can't just put new stuff there. So the whole thing gets, so then that leads us to another question, which is, do we want to write some other grant? And one topic that, because CPC grants are going to be due the end of January. So another thing that possibly came up was writing a grant to look at the walkway there, which needs more work. It's Zach and the DPW have been trying to, that walkway to get up of Bailey's Hill. It does need stabilization and reinforcement and stuff. So that was one thing that, rather than tackling the other side of Bailey's Hill, which is also a holy mess, she suggested something smaller, but so I don't know how we feel about that. And we feel whether we can handle that when we're like immersed in this big plan here.
One
I
thing
don't
I
feel like
don't
we can
know,
handle it, but I don't know what anybody else thinks. So I think we can handle more when we're done with this, but
Yeah.
it's just, we're getting bogged down in this. And so I just wonder if it's too much to, well, especially since what you guys did last year was great, but now the Conservation Commission wants you to pare it back. So maybe we should just wait a year, see how that goes, and then continue with the rest of Bailey's Hill.
yeah, I mean, we were like rushed to get that in and it was great, and it's all good, but I'm hesitant to start another one unless I know the process better. I didn't really have a good grasp of the process. And, I don't really know how much Concom jurisdiction is. I really don't know that. Like, I don't understand the working, is it because it's near the ocean? Is it because any place in town, you need Concom approval to take down invasives? I just don't really understand that whole picture. And I guess I'm reluctant to write another grant until I get a better picture of that.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. That big piece of property at the end of Furbush is being presented at the next Concom meeting. So it's like, well, that's like this little plot of land and it's going to be presented at the meeting, but how come the whole side of Bailey's Hill just, like Zach and Kristen and come up with a plan, without it being presented to the committee? Like, it's part of what Ellen's saying. We don't get like where they fit in their jurisdiction and where they don't.
Right. So I guess, from my own perspective, rather than writing a new grant, I need to learn the process better personally.
But also, I just think we don't have the time. I mean, we really going to have to buckle down in these next,
Exactly.
between now and the end of January, which is when the grant needs to be submitted. And so there's going to be next Monday night, a public meeting to explain to everybody the whole CPA process. So that's happening next Monday night, and we should just encourage other people we know who might want to write a grant to attend that, because anybody who might want to, so that they can learn how to do it. But I guess I'm in agreement that I don't think we can handle it. We need to encourage other people.
Does anybody know, I was walking up in Wharf Park. I had a conversation with one of your neighbors, Trish, Mr. Olmsted at the end. And I have a little bee in my bonnet about all the crap that he has on Wharf Park, including trailers and construction materials and his sheds on the other side of the street. So it was fairly cordial, maybe. And he, because he had a dumpster there, because he was doing his roof. And I'm like, oh, you have a dumpster. You get rid of some of the stuff, you know, I'm Paula Devereaux, Chair of the Open Space Committee. I see you have some things that are up on the park. And he got pretty defensive. So didn't go very well. I mean, he said, well, that's for the roof. I said, well, you can just toss some of the stuff in there. Well, I can't clean that out. You know, I just learned 2 years ago that the shed isn't on my land. I'm like, well, yeah, 2 years. So, anyways, I didn't get very far. So, but he, you know, he obviously knows it's on people's radar screen. But I also noticed that there are trees that are marked up there. Did anybody say anything about cutting trees up there? I think there must be cutting. There's a lot of dead trees up
So
there.
there's this tree task force
Yeah,
that's part of our being a tree city, which was, you know, which was celebrated recently at the same
Right.
time as the opening of the basketball court, you know,
yeah,
open spaces and all that. So some of that has to do with identifying trees up there between the DPW and the task force, which is a helper to Zach and the DPW. So I think some of those may be trees that they've identified as sicko trees that need to be coming down.
yeah, because they were pretty dead, the ones they identified, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
that's my
agree.
understanding too.
All right, that was all I had, walking around town. All right, so I'll get with Courtney and we'll figure it out.
So
Okay.
what should
Trish,
we
glad to
do?
have you join. If you're gonna join the committee, hopefully Tony will appoint you. And it's a joint appointment by the selectman and the town moderator.
Well, she has to want to join us first, so.
I think what you're doing is very impressive. You've bitten off a lot, but you know, it takes a long time, I think. It must be a little frustrating, but it's impressive what you have done. You know, I
Thank
was
you.
on the Open Space Committee when it was first formed, and things have come a long way since then. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us. Yeah,
Yep.
Thanks for what you're doing.
thanks.
All right, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I move to end this meeting.
Second.
All in favor? All
Bye.
right, thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Oh, I
Bye.
have one question.
Yeah.
Who's going to go forward with this ROW stuff? Should we move? I mean, we said we need to talk to more
So
people.
Rebecca, can you just revise it based on what we said today? Send it to me, and then I'm gonna send it to Courtney to have them start thinking about mapping it. And then we can I think if we see it on a draft map, it'd be easier to talk to everybody else about.
All right, so Rebecca will change it a little bit and send it to you, and then
Yeah.
you'll send it to Courtney. Okay. And
Hey, Rebecca, I can't hear you.
Bad headphones. Can you hear me better now?
Yep.
Okay. So should I take out the ones that are like edges of people's property and just keep in, I'll make a new one and just put in the thing,
Yeah.
the right ways that really are more like the range roads.
Yep.
Like described, Ellen.
And keep the
Yeah.
perimeter path ones, and we can talk about that.
Okay. There's
Yeah.
another, I didn't include this, and I forget what they call it. What is the path? I didn't include it, but it's like all up behind like 40 steps and all of the houses along that way.
Is that called the perimeter path or?
Yeah, is that the
Is
one
that
that
what-
goes behind the Cary Club?
Yeah, it loops all the way through all of that property. Do you want that on there?
Yeah, leave that there for now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll just, I'll make a new copy and I'll share it with you. I probably won't get it done until the weekend, but
That's okay.
Yeah.
okay.
okay,
All
great.
right.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.